Do you know, in India, in the lower courts and subordinate courts, we have 3 crore cases pending. And in high courts, there are over 41 million cases pending. And even in the Supreme Court, there are 65,000 cases pending. These are staggering numbers. But amid these numbers, there was one justice, Justice Ranjan Gogoi, who was known for his consistent performance in delivering justice to a time-bound manner. In fact, he brought closer to many contentious issues in India. One such is Ram Janambhoomi case, and then NRC in Assam. Though his verdicts are now being debated for its fairness or lack of it, and added to that has been this suspicion or cynicism over Indian judiciary, whether it can withstand the political pressure or whether it's neutral or not. Recently, Justice Gogoi has made his transition from judiciary to legislature, and he now has a different perspective about judiciary or about legislature. And today we are lucky that he will share with us that perspective. And it's an opportunity to ask him to crystal gaze into the future of Indian judiciary. So may I request Justice Gogoi to talk to us about what he thinks should be the roadmap of Indian judiciary. You could speak from the dais, podium, or you could speak from the chair
No,
also.
Kaushik, I think I have something different in mind. I had a speech prepared for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll read out that speech.
So you'd like me to ask the questions?
No, let me say something to the audience, and then you can interact with me.
Sure.
There's been just a sudden change of mind. I keep changing my mind. How important the judiciary as a constitutional body is concerned, perhaps need not be emphasized. You want a $5 trillion economy, but you have a ramshackle judiciary. What is your opinion of your judiciary? Not very positive? Do you know that in the year 2020, when the functioning of every organization was somewhat at a low ebb, including the judiciary, the Indian judiciary succeeded in adding about 60 lakh more cases at the subordinate level. The figure from 3 crores, what Kaushik mentioned, has gone up to nearly 4 crores. We were struggling with 3 crores. Where are we with 4 crores? The figures in the High Court has gone up by about 3 lakhs, and in the Supreme Court by about 6,000–7,000. It is in this context that perhaps time has come when we have a roadmap. Why do we discuss about a roadmap in this forum? This is not the forum. The forum is elsewhere. We do it because the forums elsewhere have not done it. This is something for the judiciary to work out itself, which has not been done. Now, the roadmap, what I have in mind is have the right man for the job. You don't appoint judges as you appoint officers in the government. To judge is a full-time commitment. It is a passion. There are no working hours. It's a 24/7 job. You wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, remember a point, go, jot it down. How many people understand that? This is how a judge works. In a country of over 2 million lawyers, about 18 to 20 lakh is the lawyer population. Can't we find 25,000 people, the right kind of people? The appointments have become a matter of routine. You sit in a competitive examination, you pass, depending on the marks you get appointed. That's not the way. Appointments in the highest judiciary, they're much debated. What is the role of the political executive? Why the political executive is sitting on the appointments? Why are they not clearing it? Half the high courts in the country are functioning at 50% of the strength. Delhi High Court has 31 judges against a sanction strength of 62. Similarly, the other day I was interacting with somebody, Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is doing with about 40% of the judges. Why the appointments are not coming through? Is it that difficult? These are areas that need to be tackled. When you appoint a judicial officer, when you appoint a judge, train him up. He needs to be constantly reminded that yours is a commitment to the nation. It's not a 10 to 5 job. When you go to the academy, the judicial academy, the gorgeous judicial academy in Bhopal, what is being taught? The laws of the seas, the laws of the oceans. Nothing about judicial ethics, nothing about judicial morals, nothing about how to write judgments, nothing about how to conduct court proceedings. I'm sorry. I've come all the way from Delhi to tell you what I feel about the system. The system has not worked. It's not worked for more reason than one. Commercial cases. If you want a thriving economy, you must have a forum for deciding commercial disputes. Nobody is going to come to invest unless you have a robust system. Investments mean disputes. Disputes require resolution. Where is the mechanism? Commercial Courts Act. Every conceivable commercial dispute has been brought within the purview of the Commercial Courts Act. Anything above 3 lakhs of rupees is a commercial dispute which goes to the commercial court. All right, you have a quick procedure to deal with these cases. But then who is applying the law? The same judge who is doing the normal cases. Arbitration. The award passed by a Chief Justice of India is questioned before a district judge. The award passed by the Chief Justice of India is challenged before a district judge. What does the poor fellow do? He sits on it. Then there is an appeal to the High Court and there is an appeal to the Supreme Court. So the whole idea of going to arbitration, that we don't want to go to court, is defeated. This is the roadmap that we have to work on. And let me tell you, I don't think a beginning has been made. Through your forum, through this platform, I call upon my brother judges to engage themselves in drawing up a roadmap. It's not that difficult. Some time has to be found for this. 10 minutes was given to me for my speech, 10 minutes I have done. Kaushik, you may ask me now.
Sir, you said that judges work extra hours for judiciary to finish off cases, but there are questions also about, and you talked about appointment also, and there are questions about your appointment also. Before your appointment, you were a dissenting judge. Then after your appointment, you are seen now, all the people who praised you during your appointment, you are now seen as someone who favored the government, the existing government, BJP government, and as a quid pro, you got a Rajya Sabha membership. You had been attacked 2 days back in Parliament by a member of Parliament about certain allegations of misconduct against you. How do you react to these things? Because from being the favorite of certain group of people, you have now transformed into being the object of attack for certain group of people.
Kaushik, you didn't waste time. You come straight to the point. Right. What is this attack? Does a judge or a former judge get cowed down by attacks? Will he be able ever able to function if he is afraid of being attacked while in office or after office? If a judge is made conscious that, look, you better do what I want. Otherwise, post-retirement, you will be attacked. In the media, India Today, NDTV, 24/7, Indian Express, the web portals. We are telling you, conduct yourself the way we want, or else we will attack you. Can a judge get cowed down by that? Unfortunately, there are many who are succumbing. This is the real threat. So far as the attack on me 2 days back is concerned, perhaps you are referring to the statement made by a lady member of parliament.
Maitrai from TMC.
The lady member of parliament. Well, what do you say? She didn't even have her facts correct. You are making an allegation. Have the courage to name the person. What do you react to a set of allegations where you are not even mentioned by name?
But we all know, sir.
One
it
minute.
was you.
1 minute, Kaushik. I deserve at least to be named. I have a name. Why you have not named me? Right? Why you have left it to imagination? And let me tell you, let me not go into the details. You can do your own research on that, but those allegations are wrong on facts. Next, favoring the government.
But before that, sir, they allege that you sat on your own judgments. You decided your own case. You were the judge over your own case.
What case?
The allegation of sexual misconduct.
There you are. No discussion of the judiciary is complete without a reference to that. If you want to discuss the Supreme Court, if you want to discuss the Indian judiciary, there must be a reference to that. What case did I decide? Who constituted the 3-member committee? Did I constitute? On day 1, I handed over the file by an order in writing. Justice Bobde, the present Chief Justice, the senior most judge, will deal with the matter from now on. It is he who constituted and reconstituted the committee with the approval of all the judges. The committee was the prescribed committee under the in-house procedure. What case did I decide and give a clean chit to myself? Have the facts correct before you make allegations. This is the problem with this country. People jump around without knowing what is what. And in the process, what have you done? You have told the future generation of judges, be careful. We can survive and thrive on misinformation. And you have your mouth shut, because the one word from you, there will be 100 words from us. What is this? Yes, Mr. Kaushik.
Are you willing to take legal recourse, sir, as a member of parliament?
The fact that I have not taken legal recourse justifies this discussion today, roadmap. How?
You don't have faith in your judiciary, sir?
It's not a question of fate. It's a fait accompli. If you were to go to the court, you would be only washing your dirty linen in the court. You won't get a verdict. I have no hesitation in saying it. That's why I am here at your request for a roadmap. Who goes to court? Who goes to court? You go to court and you regret, or you go to court taking your chances. You are a corporate, and that's my speech. Sorry. You go to the court, if you are a corporate, take your chances. Right? If you succeed, crores will come. If you don't succeed, it doesn't matter. This is the category of people who go to court, who go to the Supreme Court. Right? People who fight over property go to the trial courts in the Mofussil towns. And some of them come to the high courts in appeal. Who else goes to the court? That's why I say, the system, the efficacy of the system needs serious consideration so that the system becomes a vibrant one. I have headed the system for 14 months. I know it. It's doing fine. We have very good judges. We have committed people who are working 24/7. But somehow things are not working out. Why is that it is not working out?
But sir, if we can't go to courts, then we are living in a very terrible situation, because if you have seen currently a lot of people, especially journalists and many other activists also, face cases, including cases of sedition merely for dissent. So in that case, if the judiciary doesn't support, then where will you go? What do you have to say about this current situation where dissent is always...
Mr. Kaushik, do you have any doubt that we are living in very terrible times? Is there any doubt?
Where is the threat coming from, sir?
We are living in terrible times. The threat is coming from everywhere. Can't you perceive it?
Do you see it as a political conspiracy, sir?
Beg your pardon?
Do you see it as a political conspiracy? Because that's the political clash that's going on between right and left.
Every person who has power, every person who has a loud voice, and every person who is in the company of people who have loud voice is a potential threat. And they have been working on it. And they have succeeded.
Hearing this, I am very tempted to ask you this question, because in recent times we have seen several agitations, right from Ka in Delhi and in Assam, our home state, and also the recent farmers' agitation. How do you see the reaction from the establishment, the governments, different governments, to these agitations? Are you happy with the way these are being handled? Because you were at the top of judiciary. Judiciary is the guardian of constitution. So, as a former Chief Justice, as a citizen of India, how do you see this situation, the clash between the people, those who are against Ka, or the farmers, and between the establishment, the government?
The judiciary does not run the country. The government does. The role of the judiciary is limited to ensuring that the government runs in accordance with law. So far as the Citizenship Amendment Act is concerned, Parliament in its wisdom has passed it. The people of Northeast, my state, are agitated about it. It kind of has given rise to serious concern in the minds of people, because the threat to the very existence of the Assamese people as a race has come. It needs to be handled with extreme care. Otherwise, a part of the country which has got a very thin connection with the rest of India, the chicken's neck above Bangladesh is only 13 kilometers, right? That 13 kilometers, that chicken neck connects the Northeast to the rest of India. It's very vulnerable. Be careful. So far as farmers' agitation is concerned, this is something that the political executive have to work it out. All these matters are pending before the court. The constitutionality, the validity of all these laws are under challenge. I hope the court can find some time. But the pendency of the cases before the court is not a bar to a political solution to these problems, because a solution, legal or political, is a must.
But the solution is not coming, and instead what we are seeing, any kind of agitation that we see these days, the response to this agitation is, in most cases, sedition cases.
You see, if the solution is not coming, I don't have a solution to that. If the solution The solution, if it's a legal solution, has to be provided by the Supreme Court. If it's a political solution, it has to be provided by the political executive. Right?
But the handling of the situation, how do you see? Don't you think that it's a threat to Indian democracy?
No.
The voice is being suppressed?
The Supreme Court has said that this is a law and order situation. People have a right to dissent. People have a right to protest. But the dissent and the protest must be responsible. That's all that I can say. Rest is a solution that doesn't lie in my hands.
Coming back to one of your verdicts, sir, the Ram Janmabhoomi verdict, which you delivered, means it was pending for years, decades. Now, in a recent India Today Mood of the Nation poll, this has been regarded as the best achievement of Modi government. While it was a decision by judiciary, it has been attributed as a political success of Modi government.
Yes.
How do you react to that? And because of that verdict now, your Rajya Sabha seat is also seen as a quid pro quo. And there are some other verdicts also like Rafale.
Kaushik, I'm very glad you asked me that question. My day is made. My trip to Calcutta is... now, people projected the Ram Janmabhoomi judgment as a achievement of the biggest achievement of the Modi government, because in your questionnaire, the India Today gave the option. You gave the option. Which are Modi government's greatest success? X, Y, Z, Ram Janmabhoomi. Ram Janmabhoomi. You ticked Ram Janmabhoomi. The finer distinction between a judicial order and an achievement of the executive did not come into the mind of the people that you must have met and analyzed.
But sir, the BJP government has been taking benefits of this verdict.
You see, a court verdict will benefit somebody, will work to the prejudice of somebody. Therefore, the moment you decide a case, the judge has already got one enemy more in his pocket. Right? Now, you have asked me a question about the Ram Janmabhoomi judgment being the point of entry of to the Rajya Sabha. Come on, Kaushik. I thought I'll do some constructive work in the Rajya Sabha. If I were to look for something, would I look for a Rajya Sabha seat? A man who is credited with writing the Ram Janmabhoomi judgment is not given this much of credit. What should you bargain for? Come on. That is a worthless thought. So far as Rafale is concerned, it's very simple. In an aircraft procurement contract, do we apply the same parameters that are applied in award of a building contract? Right? When the state gives a building contract, the action of the state is to be judged on certain parameters. Would the action of the state be judged on the same parameters in case of an aircraft acquisition? I said no. The parameters would be far more stringent. That is the Rafale judgment. What is this seal cover procedure I am supposed to have invented? I did not give the details to the lawyers. Of course I did not. I did not for a good reason. The seal cover procedure, the papers in the seal cover had the cost of the armaments that the aircraft is going to be equipped with. How could I make it public? If I make it public, tomorrow the enemy will come to know what armaments are there in the Rafale aircraft. And then Pakistan would laugh at the Supreme Court of India. It's easy to talk, difficult when you sit in the Chief Justice's chair. Yes, Mr. Kaushik.
Sir, the question was actually not that you have accepted Rajya Sabha seat and it was a quid pro quo, but the issue is that here, as you talked about the quality of judges, within a year of your retirement, you accepted this position as a nominated member of Rajya Sabha. You don't belong to any party. But that perception was created because that Ram Janmabhoomi verdict and the Rafale deal, when in favor of BJP, and in a verdict, I understand that it has to go to one side. So everybody thought that there was a quid pro quo, and that perception is now growing only. How do you tackle this? How do you answer
No,
this?
I don't have to tackle anything. I have to only tackle my conscience. If my conscience is clear, no amount of what others perceive to be bothers me. I have told you, give this much credit to a man if he wants to buy, who has written the Rafale, Ayodhya, Sabrimala, give him this much credit that if he wants to bargain, he will make a good bargain. Give me this much of credit. Rajya Sabha is not a good bargain.
So you accept that it is not a bargain?
Or, what do you mean by accept? Do you think it is a bargain? If it is a bargain, if there had been a bargain, it would have been something bigger. ITC Royal Bengal. Not Rajya Sabha seat. And that too, I may tell you, Kaushik, till today, a year has elapsed, I have not taken a penny from the Rajya Sabha. I have given in writing that I don't want anything. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of that? Mr. Kaushik, are you aware?
I am aware of that,
So
sir.
why did you not ask me that question? That, sir, is it correct that you have not taken a penny from Parliament? If I have not taken a penny from Parliament, where is the quid pro quo? Tell me, why did you not ask that question? The media is very selective. Mind you, those who don't belong to the media. They are very selective. And this is as dangerous a proposition that you can have. They ask selected questions, they target selected people. This is not the role of the media that is expected.
But sir, we see that judiciary also has to take the blame, because why these perceptions grow is because at times we hear some justice of Supreme Court also, they make statements like the Prime Minister of India is God's gift and that kind of thing. A judicial member, a part of a judiciary making such statements on executives, don't you think this will actually add to this perception that there is a quid pro quo going between judiciary and the executive?
See, first of all, the learned judge should not have perhaps made that statement. If he had great admiration for the Prime Minister, it should have remained with him. Right? Beyond that, I can't answer anything. Why he did it, you ask him after his retirement, call him for a conclave and ask him. But a statement that the Prime Minister of India is a great man doesn't show any quid pro quo.
But sir, I'm again tempted to come back to that car issue, because you hinted at the situation in the chicken neck that Assam will face a trouble. Because some days back, a year back, some activists made a statement that the chicken neck would be severed from the rest of the country, and it made big headlines. Now you have made some similar statements, so there could be confusion. There could be confusion. That's why I'm coming to that, sir.
I have not made any such statement.
That's why I'm coming to that, sir.
Don't misquote me.
Do you think, sir, as an Assamese, that Ka is an existential threat to the existence of Assamese identity?
See, Ka has been enacted as a law. No matter how much you feel that this law was not necessary, is not going to help things. The only way you can get rid of that law is by a repeal or by a court declaration that it is invalid. Correct? But there are sufficient cushions to take care of. For instance, Clause 6 of the Assam Accord, which provides for protection to indigenous people. What has the government done about it? Nothing. Now that I have said that the government has done nothing, and I have criticized the government, are you convinced that I am not a pro-BJP judge? Are you now convinced that I am not a pro-BJP judge?
I'm not supposed to make statements in public forums, sir, because I'm a journalist. My job is to ask questions, not to give my opinion.
My problem is that I keep asking questions to journalists and I don't get an answer.
Because we are supposed to ask the questions, sir. But sir, yes, rightly you have criticized that the state government and the central government both are run by BJP government. They are not implementing the clause 6. But do you think it is even feasible when this particular government has repealed Article 370 in Kashmir and clause 6 is more or less on the same line? So it will ever be implemented in Assam?
I don't know about that, but let me tell you one thing. But the time is up. Let me tell you one thing. Whether it is the BJP government, it's the Congress government, is the X government, party government, Y party government, I am least concerned, I am least bothered. I am not a party man. I am a nominated member of the parliament. I remain until I choose to remain. I don't have a constituency, the entire country is my constituency. And who is that government who appointed me? Which political party appointed me is least of my concerns. I am not a political man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, no, I think our time is up.
Now I have one more question for
Yes.
you. Because NRC is another, I would be tempted to say that it's a legacy of yours because it was another pending case, it was another pending issue in the state of Assam nearly for 3 decades, and then Justice Gogoi finished it off in a couple of years. So, and then controversy is there, people are for NRC, people are against NRC, but once that NRC was published, it was almost abandoned by everyone. Do you regret that you invested so much time and energy for publication of an NRC, which now is almost an orphan in Assam? The people who demanded it, BJP, ASU, all those leaders, they don't talk about NRC anymore.
I'll give the answer in 2 minutes. There is a book in Assam called The Game called NRC. The game, G-A-M-E, game called NRC. NRC is a big game by the politicians. Nobody wants an NRC, whether it is the Congress government or the BJP government. The court can only do so much and not no further. The court has done it. There are no regrets. It's a vision document. It's a document of the future. Mark my words. Analyze it why it's a document for the future. We don't have the time to explain. But let me tell you, the NRC is a game. The migrants are told, the illegal migrants are told, we will protect you, vote for us. The other political party will say to the indigenous people, the migrants are your biggest threat, we will expel them, vote for us. This is the game. One political party protects the migrants for the vote, the other political party expels the migrant for the votes. This has been going on in Assam for the last 50 years. Right? Every time they promise a foolproof NRC, on 7th of November, Himanta Biswa Sharma, who's coming here tomorrow, spoke to the Indian Express and said, after the elections are over, we will give you a foolproof NRC. What is wrong with this NRC? Implement it. What is wrong? It's a court-mandated order. Kaushik, I think we would be encouraging...
Last question, sir. Do you think there should be a nationwide NRC as demanded by many political leaders?
You can't have an NRC in the state where it is most required, Assam. You have struggled with the NRC for the last 40 years, 50 years. What are you talking about, a nationwide NRC? These are slogans and phrases of the moment. You have an NRC in Assam, do it. Implement it. Why are you going somewhere where there is no NRC?
Justice Gogoi, thank you so much for being so candid with us. It was really an honor having you here. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session. Pleasure was all mine.
Thank you. Thank you, the India Today group, for the great privilege. I am indebted.